Have you ever thought about how often is needed to move things with nanometer precision? Let me give you 2 examples of many. If you, for example, want to affect or analyze a cell, a human cell, or if you want to produce circuit boards with nanometer accuracy, then you need extreme precision. We are Acuvi, and we have the solutions for single nanometer motion. To put this in relation, a human hair is 100,000 nanometer wide. So my name is Olof Stranding, and I'm CEO at Acuvi. And today I would like to present the group and focusing on the revenue streams in Acuvi and explain them more. And also where I see growth the coming years. Acuvi has the toolbox for high precision motion. We have 55 employees serving more than 500 customers, mainly in Europe, the US, and China. 2 days ago, we published preliminary numbers for Q3, and they confirmed that we, looking 12 months, have a turnover of 200 million SEK and show a profit on EBITDA level of around 18%. Considering what the world looks like, it's very important for us with profitability. Growing revenue is important, but we focus on being profitable. So the agenda for today, I estimate that it will take about 30 to 40 minutes to present, and then we'll have a Q&A following. So this was the introduction, and I will explain a little bit more about the revenue drivers. Mikko will present life science instrumentation, Sensapex, and we will also present where we are on IVF. And after that, it will follow a Q&A, and then we will close. So today, Sensapex will get a lot of attention. And Sensapex was acquired in 2021, and we had big expectations on Sensapex. And I think that was mutual. It was from both sides. It took a while, but now we see a growing activity at Sensapex, and therefore I think it's fair to give Mikko a chance to explain more what's happening. So our revenue can be split in 3 categories. We have customized products, and this is highly profitable products. They grow, looking 3 years back from now, about 7% per year in average. And this is the cash cow of the company. And mainly, this is the TPA business. Sales is created by customers coming to us, and we design a solution for them. So this also holds back the growth. It's profitable, but each sale takes resources. Off-the-shelf products are growing fast, 36% per year. And in this category, if you have followed Acuvi, is PiezoMotor, and I also put the plate handler from TPA Motion here. Growth is good, and new business added here will turn out, more or less, it will show up as profit. So it's highly profitable. And this is important, and I will come back later to that. And then we have the instrumentations, and that is the old Sensapex. And Mikko will explain more about this part. But it could be worth to mention here that this part of the business was the one hit hardest by COVID. So that is one reason for the slow growth here. So for all categories, product life cycle at our customers are quite long. So when we have a design win, we stay in that product for 8 to 12 years, normally. So we have a strong momentum in off the shelf, and we will enter 2024 with a very strong order book. We see increasing number of starter kits, and this indicates a growing pipeline and revenue in a year or 2 from now. We also see growth in the US as a big opportunity. So what you can see here is that if we follow the current growth, that is the bottom blue line, we will continue and see a good growth. But we have activities with big customer inflow. We see increased orders per customer. We are launching new products in this field, and we have an increased presence in the US. And these items, I think and hope, will increase the growth the coming years. We also have a high volume micromotor platform called Ultra. And those of you that have followed Acuvi for a while, you know that this is a relaunch of an old product, and we have very interesting projects here. The difference compared to our other business is that the customers here are very big. It's very hard for us to drive them the way that we normally do with customers. It's also very hard to drive the communication and to set the agenda for communication, because the customers are bigger and harder for us to work with in that sense. So changes in these areas will be press released, of course. But it could be worth to mention that the areas we are working with is within 5G, moving antennas and filters. It's handheld diagnostics, and also applications around zooming functions and stabilization in mobile phone cameras. So, and here Mikko will take over and come into life science.
Thank you, Olof. So as Olof brought it up, there are probably quite a few investors here who've been wondering what has been happening with the Sensapex over the last 2 years. And this is a great opportunity for me to give you more information about that, and then also show how we think it will go forward. And COVID hit this business really hard, so most of the existing customers are research labs in the universities, and they went to lockdown during the COVID, and then there were limited amount of people allowed to go to campus for quite a while after that. Also, their funding shifted from the type of applications that they do with our products more towards the themes that were really focused on the COVID type of things. So that was a very hard market condition in general, but we have now recovered from that. And last spring, we also established this new business unit around the Sensapex business with the single purpose of being able to grow it faster. And since that time, we have started lots of new activities to ensure that we will start to make the progress that we can make. And we see the growth coming here in the 2 phases. So first of all, what you don't see in this graph is the historical growth of Sensapex. So prior to COVID, prior to 2020, it was in average 26% per year. So the dip here and the flat period is not something we ever had before. And what we see now, considering the activities we have ongoing, is that the next year we will return back to that growth rate. We have also started new initiatives now, like more like future-oriented, which we are really driving to ensure that we can grow even faster after 25 forward. But those will take a bit longer time before they impact the revenues. So I talk here briefly about the 3 growth pillars that we have now identified that help us to make this happen. So first one is in the neurotech market. And as a market, it's a big market, it's growing. It includes different kind of technologies and instruments that are used to measure or modulate the brain function, both in the research settings, but also in the medical side of the things. And in the medical market, those include, for example, the cochlear implants, like the very advanced hearing aids, and deep brain stimulation that is used, for example, in the Parkinson's disease. But our main opportunity here, if we think about the medical side long term, is the new brain-machine interfaces, like the really finest, latest technologies that the startups like Synchron or Elon Musk's Neuralink are driving forward. And these companies are already entering the first clinical trials, so I think they are coming in not so distant future here. My own background is actually in neuroscience research before the Sensapex, and my lab was a neurotech lab, so I also like this part quite a bit for that reason. So the products in this segment as of today are still for the research customers. So they are Sensapex branded standard products, They have been designed and are manufactured in-house based on our own patented technologies. We have over 800 customers worldwide, so it starts to be quite sizable install base already. And the good thing to understand is that the customers in this segment prefer to buy same thing as they bought before. So while our customer base is accumulating, it creates more repeat business for us. And for that part of the baseline growth, we don't need to invest that much into marketing. The products also have very high margins, so that together with the accumulating baseline provides us a good scalability in terms of profit also. So I think we have a pretty good product line already here for the cell manipulation and measurement area. And this is a work that is done under advanced microscopes where the brain cells are on the dish. And here our main focus to try the growth is really on improving the distribution. And this includes, for example, the Nikon partnership that we launched earlier this year. And the second thing that we see here as opportunity is to increase our lead generation through the web channels. So there we can be also doing much better work. The second application area under the neurotech is the neurosensing. So this is more new to us. It is a fast-growing niche both in the research and the medical applications. And this is the one that relates quite closely to these brain-machine interfaces, for example. And here the customers are working more with the whole brain level, but with the single-cell resolution. So we launched a new product for that, which is like a system-level automated, even like a robot that enables you to put the probes to the brain very precisely in a large scale. So the customers are recording like thousands of individual brain cells at the same time in the research settings. And we did the first deliveries for this in September. So this is very new to us, but I have to say that the market traction has been really good. So we've never seen something like this before in the Sensapex products in the history, so this looks very promising for us. So for both of these application areas, we also see opportunities outside the research market. So for the cell manipulation measurements, I think there's a good opportunity to develop more automated, even like a workstations for the biotech and pharma, based on things we have validated already for the research applications. And for the neurosensing, maybe first more like a research systems for the companies who develop these medical applications, but then later there will be lots of need for different kind of insertion robots for the brain-machine interfaces. And I think long-term that would be very interesting for us. Then growth pillar number 2. This is also new to us, so it's a modular instrumentation solution for industrial customers. Quite a mouthful, but what it really means is that it's a very mildly customized products for the customers who are not research labs. They could be companies who sell to research labs or other companies from other vertical markets, but the business with the companies, not with the researchers. And here we are still at the go-to-market phase, and our initial focus is on the advanced cell imaging market. And this is partially because we have existing products and technologies proven in that, but partially also because many of the big companies in this market segment are using heavily third-party manufactured products as part of their own portfolio. So we know that there's an existing volume and demand there for the things we have. We just have to get to those customers and get the revenue going. And this is also a business area where we see that we can really leverage the Acuvi group synergies when we try to enter other vertical markets for our products and technologies outside the imaging market, for example. And growth pillar number 3. So this is quite interesting one also that we've been thinking for a long time in the history already, and that's the in vitro fertilization market. So our vision here is to become the leading automated ICSI instrumentation provider in the IVF market. So what does it mean? So the ICSI is the procedure that is done in the IVF clinics where the operator is capturing the single sperm and injecting to the egg by using the micromanipulators. So as a devices, they are very similar to what we have in the neurotech segment, microscope, micromanipulators, and such. The customer base is different, but the devices are very similar. So that makes that's one reason why it's very logical expansion for us. We can think about this as 3 sub-segments. So the first one is the research market, and this is something where we have a bit like an overlapping customer base, and it's easier for us to enter from that perspective. It also doesn't have any regulative aspects like medical certifications. So here the customers are, in addition to this ICSI, doing, for example, injection with some genetic material or stem cells to the eggs. And as such, we think that this is actually a bigger niche than what we do in the neurotech market at the moment for the micromanipulators. So it is a good growth opportunity for our research side of the business as such. And we think next year we can enter that with the new product variants that are based on the existing products, which make it also quite efficient for us. Then next to that is veterinary applications, and these include things like ICSI for the horse or livestock breeding. And this is the segment here that we don't know as well as the other two. We think it's a good opportunity. That is a big industry as such, but I think we need to do more homework to analyze that and do our own go-to-market plan for this segment. And then the third one is the medical side or human IVF market. And this is obviously the one where we think that we have the biggest potential long term. It is also the one where time to market is longest. So before you go there, you really want to perfect and mature your product to the research and other applications. And then you certify it medically, and then you can go to the clinics. And there's really no shortcut on that. But what we are doing already in this space with the human IVF is working with other companies, partnerships who are active in the human IVF applications. And that we see as possibility to start getting revenues faster from this segment also. And that's actually the last point I want to make now from my presentation. And we were lucky to have some guest speakers here for our IVF sections who are really experts on the IVF industry. And they are the same companies that we are also working as partners. So I think with these words, I would like to introduce Andrew Drakeley from IVF 2.0, which is a partner that is working on the AI for the in vitro fertilization market.
Thank you for the introduction, Mikko, and thank you for the organisers for giving me this opportunity to speak about IVF 2.0. We're a medical software company working in the human fertility space. There are three co-founders who set this company up several years ago. Alejandro Chavez Badiola, who originates from Mexico, but did his IVF training with me in Liverpool in the UK. Jacques Cohen, who's one of the forefathers of embryology and currently works out of New York City in the USA. And myself, who's an NHS fertility doctor in Liverpool in northwest England. Now, the fertility market is an increasing market, and there's an increasing amount of subfertility for different reasons and different applications. But for a lot of people, it's out of reach for different reasons, whether this be cost or staff training. But up to 10% of babies are born through IVF treatment. Certainly in Copenhagen, that's the case of 10%. And millions and millions of people are being born annually due to assisted reproduction. It's a growing market size. Currently, it's estimated around about 4,500 clinics globally in all territories, and this is growing. Financially, it's a growing market as well, and the annual growth rate is said to be around 6%, and there are many drivers to see this increase. Now, there have been some technological advances over the years, although a lot of the approaches are still quite paper-based and quite antiquated, and therefore we think there's an opportunity digitize and automate the process. So we believe actually that there's a role for automation in every step of the IVF journey, whether this be the clinical decision making or the choosing of the right time to collect the eggs, the stimulation dose, which are the best eggs to mix with the best sperm, and then how to prioritize the best embryos. And so we have two CE mark products. The first is Erica, which looks at embryo ranking based on its ploidy or genetic prediction. And then SID, which is of interest to Sensapex and Acuvi, which obtained its CE mark in 2021. And for this, it's a computer software that looks at the motility patterns of each of the spermatozoa, but looks at them in a lot more accuracy and magnification than the human eye can imagine. It looks at its rotation on its axis, and you put the ICSI needle that picks up the sperm in the middle blue circle, and then it highlights the best 3 sperm within this high power field. Now, normally the embryologist would see fewer sperm because they would dilute and put the sperm in a media that slows the sperm down, but this is able to move in different fields and select the best sperm for pickup. And this was a unique product that was first in its market and it's first to get CE marking. And then we're exploring the American market via an FDA application as we speak. So from a journey point of view, we have 2 products that we're just going for commercial launch this year. We have a version 2 of SID, which is looking at more sperm parameters. So version 1 looked at 2 main motility parameters. Now version 2, which is ready and validated, is looking at 8. And version 3, which should be ready by Christmas, also adds morphology, so the shape of the sperm head to that. Currently, we are active in 22 countries, and there are more coming on online. It's a steady flow rather than a rush, but we're seeing steadily quite global spread in terms of Africa and Asia and Japan. From a testimonial point of view, we're getting good feedback from our users from different parts of the world, including Ukraine and the UK and Mexico and the USA. So from a cooperation, and we've been speaking to MECO for several months now, and last month we signed a collaboration agreement. And we really sort of see this as a shared collaboration where IVF 2.0 helps provide the software and Sensapex the hardware. But the SID software for the sperm selection would be integrated, optimized and validated into the Sensapex ICSI workspace station. And that would be a unique selling point because that would be the only ICSI provider on the market that incorporates AI from the word go. We can also adapt our software to other areas of use, whether this be research and veterinary applications. So thank you very much for giving this short slot to speak to you, and I'm happy to stay on the call to answer questions at the end. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Andrew. And then we have our second collaborator that is working also on the IVF automation part. And happy to introduce Alejandro, who's currently in Mexico, but was still able to join our event today. So please go ahead, Alejandro.
Hello, Mikko. Thank you very much for this space. So I am a founder and Chief Product Officer at Conceivable. Conceivable, we have set the goal to democratize IVF through technology, particularly through automating the full IVF process. Now, IVF is a 22 billion industry. And I think that there could be reasons to be happy, but if we see the big picture, it doesn't matter how we look at it, we're still playing for peanuts. Why am I saying this? According to the WHO, 16% of the world's population will face fertility problems, but still globally, 99% of infertile patients are still unable to access IVF. Barriers are time, of course, but mainly money. Now, in a just world, we estimate that about 10% of all children should be IVF babies. And there are wealthy and eccentric countries which have done this experiment. Denmark is one example, Belgium another example. In Denmark, 1 out of every 10 babies are product of IVF. In Belgium, 8.6. Israel is pretty much the same, which means that instead of having about 800,000 IVF babies born every year, we should be aiming at 1 million babies per month. Now, this would effectively make or bring IVF for the people rather than for wealthy people alone, as is the case right now. However, for this, we need to radically change the way in which we are approaching the problem. We need to think about incorporating new technology, in particular automation, AIs, new business models, start liaising with OBGYNs, nurse practitioners, and of course, reproductive endocrinologists. What we're doing at Conceivable is developing robots for every single step in the IVF process. We have fully automated sperm preparation, egg finding, fertilization with ICSI, incubation, freezing, and storage. What we anticipate, and this is a publication from a few years ago, that by decreasing the cost of IVF by 1% of disposable income, the demand increases by about 3%. We believe that the right conversation, the discussions about the ethical side of IVF should be about access. And what we're doing, we believe, is not only the right thing to do, but it's a massive commercial opportunity in the world today. I'm going to be using American numbers. If we divide the full amount of money that is spent in the United States in IVF by the number of babies born through IVF, the average cost to have a baby in the US would be over $25,000. Now, if we're saying that there should be 1 million babies born per month, and we bring down the cost to $15,000 per baby, this would make a $180 billion fertility market. But of course, infertility is only a fraction of the potential market, because we estimate that recurrent miscarriage is also a problem that could be solved in some cases through IVF. Of course, genetic disease prevention is another use of the technology. And just based on a recent survey, LGBTQ individuals under 35, from these 40% in this questionnaire said that they would have children. So now, suddenly, we're not playing for peanuts anymore. We're not the size of the peanut market. We're the size of the full global travel and tourist market. And this is moving very fast. What I'm showing you here is an ultrasound with a heartbeat of our first pregnancy with the first fully automated sperm preparation. The pregnancy is now 11 weeks. We have already filed an omnibus provisional patent, including 254 claims. This is the largest ever filed in the IVF industry. And we are filing 3 full patents every month. We believe that the future of IVF is automated. And the question remaining is, how will we collaborate? The good news is we have already started. We have been in conversations with Mikko for a long time. What you're going to see is the seed AI that Andrew showed you, fully automatically chasing the best sperm, the one selected, automatically immobilizing it with laser, to load it also automatically, and then pierce through the wall of the egg to inject the sperm. Everything that you see here, again, is fully automated, and in this case, what we're using are the Sensapex equipment that we got from you. So thank you very much. This is my presentation, and again, same as Andrew, I'll stay for any questions, and thank you.
So I will start to just repeat what I said before, the IVF section. So looking 3 years back, the revenue streams, you can see that we have customized customers, and that revenue stream is growing by, in average per year, 7%. We have off-the-shelf, that is the star of the group, that is growing by 36% per year in average. And then we have instruments that is growing about 10% per year. So if you just continue this and assume constant growth per year, we will have a situation where with 2026, we'll have more revenue from off-the-shelf than from customized. And the important thing with that is that this really drives profit. It's revenue drives easier for off-the-shelf, but also profit. So the trend is in our favor. And looking then at the momentum in the off-the-shelf, we have a strong order book, many starter kits, and we see opportunities in the US. And this we make us think that there is a very good chance of actually increasing the growth per year from a good 36% to something much higher. And that is using the momentum, launching new products, and also increase the presence in the US even more. So looking here at the scenario, just following the trend, we will have a turnover 2027 of about 350 million SEK. And then if you can increase the growth, that is a scenario that I would say 500 million SEK would be realistic. And long term, we have communicated in the past that we aim to increase EBITDA to above 25% from today's 18-20%. So the investment case then, the revenue today is about 200 million SEK and 20% margin on this. And we have very good opportunities, both in the current business, but also with the projects we have that can open up markets with higher volumes. and we have the technology that meet the demands for higher precision. And that was really the idea today, to show the larger trends, but also to make a deep dive into one of the growth areas we see through IVF, and also show and present you to some of our customers. So by this, I close the presentation, and I'm happy to answer questions.